Wholeness, everyone. Welcome to Notes of Nandra Rashida, Notes of Nara. May this message find you well and whole. Whew, it is a cold December night. It's on a Friday, 20th of December. We got 11 more days until the end of the Gregorian calendar, because there's many different calendars, but they don't tell us that, right? You know. What's been going on with me? A slight update before I get into today's topic. Finally, successfully ended my first semester of getting back into teaching, my first semester in grad school, and I am ready to embark on, I guess, something very private and personal that I'll share later. But yeah, I'm well. There's a sense of completion following the Gregorian calendar for sure, and I really look forward to the next couple of weeks of just resting my mind, and really listening to God source, to the infinite, to the womb of all creation. And one thing I love about wintertime, despite how it makes us it's very uncomfortable, right? It's a very uncomfortable season. It is not the time to, what am I trying to say? Like, go out and it's a little bit harder, I would say, to be social and to be external with your energy. It is a time for deep self-reflection. It is a time for review, processing things. The magic of winter is a powerful season, and it's a powerful time to really, really just sit and pause and observe and listen and really digest all the happenings within the Gregorian year. So today's message is about infinity and the human relationship with life, death. What does it mean? And I guess, I can share my own 36-year-old point of view, my own personal philosophy on such matters. I was blaring the radio in my car. Usually I like to listen to classical music. If I'm going to turn on the radio at all, it's just something about the frequency of classical music. It's calming enough to where it's not overstimulating, and it's stimulating enough to where it's not boring, and you're driving tired, you won't run off the road. But there's something about the frequency and the energy of classical music that will always resonate with me. So anywho, but sometimes I like to blare rock and roll, and maybe from time to time a little rap. I'm not a rap head at all. Hip hop died a long time ago, like maybe a good 10-15 years ago. But I'll blare the popular music, or an oldies, oldie but goodie. But today there was it was a cover by, oh gosh, do you really want to live forever, forever and ever, forever young, or something like that. And Forever Young, it really kind of stuck with me, because we're in the season of endings, the season of deaths, where things go to sleep, to rejuvenate, right? To become something else in the following season. At least where I live, the northern hemisphere. And so the relationship with infinity and death and life. And I'll have to say this, and this may come off strange or whatever, but to me, I am infinite. I'm an infinite energy that's manifested, through the union of my mother and father and through this powerful source that we call God, right? And my being manifested through this human form. And I guess how I look at it is it's like I am recalling and remembering myself. Remember, right? Because I am a member of the infinite, but I believe that when a human being incarnates or manifests into the physical form in this life, we suffer from what I like to call spiritual amnesia, where our memory of soul, our memory of spirit, our memory of our true essence is completely wiped clean. So we spend our whole life long through religions, through walking away from religions, to walking into them, to practicing spiritual practices. It's like this beautiful ebb and flow of spiritual and evolutionary development. But with that being said, I feel that, I came here and already as an infinite being, and I'm spending my whole life long remembering myself, reconnecting to what I already am. So how does that connect to life, death? My human life is my human life, and I will have a human death. But I do not believe, because I'm an infinite being, that death, for me, infinity is the blend of death, rebirth, life. It is the all. So the human death is just an exit and also an entry. Just like a birth is an exit from something, someplace, and an entry into this world, into this realm, into this reality. So can we live forever? In the human sense, no. The human collective does not believe this. So thus it's not that belief system is not materialized, right? And thus it's not part of the reality here. Everything is very cyclical, and it constantly walks through the cycle of life, death, rebirth, life, death, rebirth, life, death, rebirth, life, death, rebirth. But I seek to expand beyond that cycle, because I think infinity coexists all at the same time, meaning there's a life and a death and a rebirth happening all at once. And that's very difficult for the human mind to grasp, especially if we're preconditioned and programmed to believe in a linear reality, in a linear time frame, the past, present, future. Right? We are literally like yesterday, today, tomorrow. A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. Because the value of a number changes via the order of the number. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. If I switch to 2, 1, 3 or 3, 1, 2, the value of that changes everything, right? So it can't be that in this reality. Everything has to be very fixed, organized, right? And so this whole thing, Infinity Quest, I like to call it. I actually composed a song. If you check out my music channel, Notes of Nara, or it's listed as Notes of Naja Rashida. Nara is for short. Nara, Naja Rashida. But yes, I composed a song called Infinity Quest. But I just, it's so interesting. And I will say, and I don't mean to bring in being a single woman and all that, but it's so interesting when you are in your own energy field and it's like you become an observer, like a student of reality, of your own internal reality, your own secret life, and the secret life of the human collective as well. That's why I feel like I really thrive off of working in environments where there's many different people that I'm working with, because I'm constantly learning. I'm constantly just, it's like this beautiful dance of energy. I hope I'm not sounding too woo woo, but it's just so, it's like, it's almost like human nature, human beings. I'll just say humans. Humans, we like comfort. We like to be comfortable. And there's something unsettling about infinity. Infinity has no ending or beginning or middle. So we can't grasp, we can't lock ourselves into it. We can't hook ourselves into it. Our ego can't lock itself into anything. Because then it begins to question that, oh, if I can't lock myself into something, do I exist? Am I not real? That's ego. If I can't lock into an identity, then I'm not real. And if I'm not real, then I don't exist. And if I don't exist, that's a problem, because I have to survive. That's ego. And through many religions, there's a lot of ego in it. Through many and I will say the more of the spiritual path, the spiritual path focuses on just facing that ego head on. Religion, it dances around ego. It doesn't. I've noticed through many of, especially the popular religious practices, it kind of doesn't. It dances around it. You don't come face to face with ego. I've come face to face with my own ego through Eastern practices, like, when I read into Buddhism, mindful meditation, learning about manifestation. When you start to open up those channels of creativity, you begin to realize your own blockages, right? Your own limited belief systems, because you were told nothing's in your control. You're a victim of circumstance. You have no right to dictate anything that's happening in your reality, because you are a product of circumstance. That's it. You work the job that you work at. You're with the partner that you're with. You have the hobbies and the habits that you do, because it is what it is. You can't change it. And when you break free from that, you realize what the role of ego. You realize how much your ego is attached to so much garbage. So much garbage. So, yeah. What's very interesting, I just thought of this, ego death. I find that an ego death is pretty much where you have nowhere to hide. The ego has nowhere to hide. The truth, it sets you free. And it can be painful. It can humble you. It brings you down to your knees. And that's why I always find it interesting when people say, oh, I had my major spiritual awakening. And it's like, oh, you became knowledgeable of the false self, the ego, the false voice, the internal dialogue, the illusion of separation. You cannot kill the ego. That's very dangerous, by the way. To try to kill the ego, you're setting yourself up. Woo! I was on that kick for a while. In the early 20 teens, I was like, oh, I have to kill the ego. The ego's bad. The ego's evil. All you have to do when it comes to tuning in and tapping into our infinite essence is to give ego voice. How do you do that? Listen, observe, be mindful. When you realize how full of mind you are, you become mindless, less mind and more heartful. For a while I didn't like the word mindful. Why would I want to be full of mind? No, it's about realizing, becoming aware of how full your mind is of crap, of bull crap, garbage, distraction. It's very powerful when we start tuning into the infinite essence of who we are. You know, when I think about reincarnation and that paradigm, and how we're all, our spiritual essence is pretty much stuck here until we evolve past our karma and our lessons and whatnot. And I'm like, I don't want to come back here. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to come back. But at least to the human experience, right? The human experience is tough. It's a son of a gun. It is rough, incredibly difficult at times. And, and there are some philosophies out there that believe that Earth is actually hell manifested. And we are all in this type of hell on this earth until we evolve through our lessons and we burn a lot of our transgressions, and then we enter into a heaven, a higher dimension of self. There's so many different thought programs and belief systems. It could be overwhelming because I feel pulled to everything. But that's ego wanting to attach itself to something. You see? I seek to get in tune with the infinite essence that I am, that is in this body, that's that the force in this being that's allowing me to breathe and to think and to put sentences together and to feel, and I'm noticing anytime I feel like this call, like, oh, maybe I should get back into Sufism, right? I took an initiation like over a year ago, almost 2 years ago, and I felt that calling very deeply, and then I didn't. Right? Same with Sikhism back in 2016, 2017, somewhere in there. I felt that call. And obviously my Muslim upbringing, even with paganism, like I felt that itch, that call, but it's just ego needing to attach itself to something outside of the self, outside of soul, outside of spirit, outside of our truth, outside of infinite. That's why it's like I always struggled really truly, because I was like, oh, what if I'm into, like paganism and witchery stuff, and even that, and I feel that's an aspect of my consciousness that maybe in one of the lifetimes that I have lived or am living or will live, right? I feel that connection to some of the things, not all, some of the things, some of the practices. But then I also feel like, no, that's not it either, because I feel my ego attaching it and trying to attach itself to that. Just like with Sufism, right? Myself wants to attach it. The ego wants to attach itself. So I'm taking, some time to really sit and listen. because when you feel pulled in so many different avenues, it's good to just hit pause. And December is an excellent time to self-reflect. It's cold outside, right? And as much as I love nature and the beauty of nature and the white snow and, and just a fresh, crisp air, it's cold. Okay, it's cold as hell, all right? And so that's that time to be indoors and to be at home, in your home, but also at home with yourself. So that's all I wanted to share with you. I wish you a happy new year. May you enjoy the following messages that I'm going to upload. And yeah, I care very deeply for you all. Thank you for subscribing and for engaging with me. I'm just, again, I can't say what the direction of this YouTube channel will go, where we're going to go together, because in order for this to happen, you have to take part, right? But it's just all a journey. It really, truly is. So thank you. With all the deepest gratitude, with all my heart, thank you. Thank you. May you all enjoy tonight and this evening, and excuse me. Stay warm, stay well, and stay whole. Thank you.